It's almost as if genres are segregated by race. Because if it was truly based off of talent, then they would have to open these doors and give the same accolades, if not more, to the extremely over-talented, over-prepared Black artists that are showing up every day and giving 110%. So no, we're not gonna make it about true talent. We're not gonna make it about true artistry. Let's be real. When it comes to being a pop star, talent is optional. Auto-tune? Absolutely. Stage presence? Nowhere to be found. Breath control? Girl, what's that? All of this is true unless you're a Black woman. Then, all of a sudden, you better be able to sing like Whitney, move like Beyonce, and have choreography that would make Janet Jackson cry. Because apparently, mediocrity is a luxury that Black women can't afford. Some of your favorite pop stars get to whisper into a mic in a baby tee and call that a world tour. And I love that for them. But what I don't love is that Black women don't get the same luxury. So who gets to be a pop star? And what even is a pop star in the first place? The pop girl archetype. Pop stardom has long favored a certain archetype, a woman or young girl that is white or has close proximity to whiteness. She's thin and conventionally attractive and maybe not can carry a tune. Being a pop star is less about talent and more about your image and marketability. Can you sell a can of Coca-Cola? Yes or no? That's about it. For example, Britney Spears, she became the princess of pop at one point, and she didn't have vocals like Whitney. She wasn't exceptionally talented for a singer, which is kind of ironic because you would think that main talent should be able to sing. Not to say that she can't carry a tune, but if we're being real, she's not the best singer out there, you know? But one thing about Britney Spears is that they had her image down packed. She had the look, she had the charisma, she had the marketability. And I mean, she could dance. I'll give her that. A lot of her performances were really iconic. I mean, if you remember the one with the snake, I hate snakes. But she knew how to deliver her vocals, albeit silently because she was lip singing. But I digress. She knew how to sell an image. And this level of marketability sans talent. I mean, we can look at people today like TikTok star Addison Rae. I mean, she's performed her songs on places like Jimmy Fallon, the song called Obsessed. And if we're being real, she kind of has that similar vibe. She's not necessarily a powerhouse singer or artist in general, but she's cute. She has a huge following. She has a look. She's marketable. And so someone like her that isn't exceptionally talented gets to play in the world of pop stardom in ways that maybe some Black artists wouldn't be able to. The industry has shown time and time again that if you're a white woman that is pretty mediocre, but you look good enough, you're cute, and you can sell things, then you get to attain a certain level of stardom in the music industry that some people that are, I mean, a million times more talented will never even be able to touch. And so it really poses the question, is pop stardom, I mean musical fame, really about the music, or is it more just about capitalism and how many bottles of lip gloss or perfume you can sell? It almost reminds me of like those K-pop stars where it's almost like a pop star assembly line. Like if you look a certain way and you know, you have enough charisma and charm, then we can work on you. We can work on your hair. We can get you a stylist. We can get you vocal lessons. We can put auto-tune. We can do all these things and create you into this business that we want you to be. Talent be damned. Now, obviously, there's a huge double standard for Black women when it comes to pop stardom. I mean, let's really sit and think. How many mediocre, non-talented Black women do you know get to blow up and have an expansive level of pop stardom in the same way that their white counterparts get to have? Let's think about it. I really can't think of any. If you can, let me know in the comment section down below. Now, if we start to speak of the Black women that dare to step into pop, our Normanis, our Chloe Baileys, our Tinashes, for example, the bar has been set extremely high for these women. Is it set high by their own standards or by society. Maybe it's both. The bar for a Black woman to be able to break out into pop stardom, I mean, it's in the atmosphere. Like, the bar for some other people is on the ground and they can just step over it. But for a lot of Black women and non-white women, the bar is on Jupiter. I mean, it's almost impossible to be able to reach it. They can't afford to be mediocre in any way. A lot of these women are exceptionally talented. They'll be on stage, I mean, running around, dancing, doing all the choreography, playing instruments, doing all the things. Think about Lizzo, for example, and will still get a certain level of scrutiny and criticized for irrelevant things. And that's literally just to be considered in the conversation, not even speaking of getting any accolades, awards, etc. Like, if we look at Normani, for example, if you think about a pop star, she has everything. She has the look. I mean, maybe not in the eyes of society, but anybody would look at Normani and be like, oh yeah, she's a really pretty girl. She is extremely talented when it comes to dancing. She's a good singer. She has the personality, the look. Now, I know there are other factors. She doesn't really release much music very often. I know she's going through a lot behind the scenes, but when we look at other artists like Chloe Bailey, for example, she, since the departure from the group Chloe and Halle, has been really leaning more into like a pop-ish sound. And I've noticed that like a lot of her music doesn't get as much support as other people. Mind you, she plays instruments, she writes, she produces, she dances, she has a phenomenal singing voice that could outsing a majority of the pop girlies that are out right now. And it's honestly a bit confusing to me as to why she doesn't get the same level of accolades or success as some other people. It's honestly very confusing to me. Like, her being super talented gets critiqued as, oh, she's doing too much, she's trying too hard. But I can 150% guarantee you that if this was an Addison Rae or another one of the white pop girlies, for example, and they had her level of talent along with that look, people would be eating it up. She would have 59 million Grammy Awards by now. She would be the #1 star on the planet. And the same goes for artists like Tinashe. Tinashe has been around for longer than Chloe Bailey has. And again, she's talented, she sings, she dances, she does all of these things. And she's faced so much turmoil in her career and has honestly not reached the level of success that I honestly believe she would reach if she looked a little bit different, if you know what I mean. Now, even when Black women do seem to start to kind of break through that pop barrier, if we look at people like Lizzo or Doja Cat, for example, which I think Lizzo really makes true like pop music. Obviously, Doja Cat is a rapper and mixes in other genres in her music, but I do feel like at this point, pop, standing for popular, blends in a lot of different genres. It's not just that typical pop sound. You can have a pop artist that also raps, or you can have a straight up rapper that becomes pop because they're popular. You know what I mean? And that's where I think certain artists like doechii, Doja Cat, etc. start to come into the conversation. And when they do start to break down some of those barriers, they start to get criticism and labels. Too Black, too sexual, too weird, too much. When Black women do start to push the envelope when it comes to their musicality or their persona, the same characteristics that may make a white pop artist more edgy or cute or interesting in the industry can be a source of criticism for a Black pop artist. For example, if we look at Sabrina Carpenter, she's an extremely talented pop artist. I'm not going to take that from her. I'm not including her in the conversation of white girls that aren't talented. But what I will say is that she isn't more talented than some of her Black pop counterparts. Yet she has risen to success in a way that is very interesting. And she does kind of lean very sexual in some of her artistry. And again, if we bring up Chloe Bailey, for example, also leans pretty sexual, but the sort of response that they get is very different. Chloe Bailey, again, gets labeled as doing too much. She's a try-hard. She's weird. Okay, we get it. Like, you're sexy. Like, you know? Whereas an artist like Sabrina Carpenter can be a bit sexual. And don't get me wrong, I've seen some criticism here and there where parents are like, I don't want my kid going to her concert because of X, Y, and Z. But for the most part, she is packing out these, I don't honestly don't know the difference between a stadium or an arena or whatever they're called. But wherever she's performing, she's packing out these places and getting a certain level of appreciation and support from people that Black artists just simply aren't getting. Mind you, same level, if not more talent. So what is that really about? Or if we even talk about the weirdness of it all, we have artists like Doja Cat or the doechiis that are leaning into the weirdness, right? And there have been artists like Lady Gaga that were astronomically weird, like a bit more weird, you know? And I mean, when I tell you reached a certain level of success that cannot even be fathomed. And you would think that Black girls that are just as talented obviously make a different type of music, but the weird Black girl is nothing new, but they have never been able to attain the same level of success that, you know, a weird white artist would be able to attain. Like certain characteristics that make artists unique, whether it's being sexual, whether it's being weird, whether it's being whatever, doesn't pay off in the same way if you're a Black woman, a Black femme artist, in the way that it would for a white artist. And then we go into the R&B pigeonhole. Now, if you're a Black artist, then more than likely you're going to be told you make R&B music, even if you don't make R&B music. There have been some songs by Black artists that have been considered R&B, and I hear the song and I'm like, is it? Or it'll be put into, like, you know how Spotify makes those like automatic playlists, and the song will be put in like the R&B playlist as opposed to maybe the pop playlist, and it's like, this is not an R&B song. Like, what? Why is this here? This doesn't make sense. Like, just because someone is Black doesn't mean that they make R&B music. Like, for example, Tinashe spoke out about this at some point in her career, because despite her making more like electro pop type music, her label was trying to push her into being R&B, and it was simply because she was Black. If she was a white artist, they would never push that hard for her to be an R&B artist. It just doesn't make sense.
By putting artists either in an urban category or an R&B category or rap category, a hip-hop, these really general umbrellas that we use to define different genres, it creates a huge sense of isolation for the creative when they're trying to experiment, especially for creatives that don't necessarily feel like they fall into one of the genres, which was my experience.
It's almost as if genres are segregated by race, you know? Like, for example, when Justin Bieber was trying to make R&B music, they were like, okay, white boy, we love your pop music, so we're gonna keep putting you on the pop charts. And he was pissed off and yelling at y'all because he wanted to make R&B, you know? The same things have happened to Normani. Like, this is like a really common occurrence. And the pigeonholing of Black women is extremely problematic because it doesn't allow us to show our fluidity and show that, like, we're not a monolith. Like, we are diverse, we have a diverse range of talents. If we're being 100% honest, the pop label does come with a lot more exposure and visibility than the R&B label. That's just very apparent, very obvious. If you're a pop artist, a popular music artist, what does that imply? That your music is more popular. Not saying R&B isn't popular. I love R&B music, but it doesn't get the same sort of platforms. It doesn't get the same sort of access that pop music and pop artists get. And this really just leads back into my point. Being a pop star, being a pop girly never really was about talent or about true love for the artistry. It's honestly about controlling the narrative of who gets to be on the front page, who gets to get all the streams, who gets to be successful, who gets to be the it girl, who gets to be put on the magazines and the Coca-Cola commercials, who gets to start the beauty lines. And spoiler alert, it's oftentimes not Black women. Because if it was truly based off of talent, then they would have to open these doors and give the same accolades, if not more, to the extremely over-talented, over-prepared Black artists that are showing up every day and giving 110%. So no, we're not gonna make it about true talent. We're not gonna make it about true artistry. industry. We're gonna make it about a look that you can't attain, because obviously if you're a Black woman, you look like a Black woman regardless of how you wear your hair, how you style your clothes. You're still a Black woman, and this look of being a thin white girl or white adjacent J-Lo is the image we're gonna push, because we know that you'll never be able to attain that, and we can keep closing doors and keep you out of rooms that we truly don't want you to be in. And we cannot forget to mention the intersectionality of having darker skin while also trying to break through as a pop star. I mean, if we really look back, how many pop artists can we remember were dark skinned? There have been some Black pop artists, don't get me wrong, but darker skinned pop artists, I mean, almost unheard of. We do have Lizzo, who is, like a brown skinned woman, but there really aren't many examples of dark skinned Black women breaking through pop and sustaining. And that's why I'm really excited for artists like doechii, for example. Although she isn't just straight pop music, she really still has potential to break out as a pop star in general, or a musical star in general, and I'm loving what I'm seeing. For darker skinned Black women, they face a lot of challenges in life in general, but not only as a person in the entertainment industry, but as a musician. But not only as a musician, as a pop musician, or someone who's trying to break through and make music that becomes popular as a popular artist. It's almost unheard of and extremely difficult. I mean, it's like trying to swim through a vat of tar wearing 50-pound cement blocks on all of your limbs. It's impossible. And it just adds another layer of disrespect for the Black artists that are coming through in the industry, trying to really show what they got, show their talents. You can be the most talented woman in the world. If you don't have the look that they're wanting, then you might as well pack it up and go home. But don't actually do that, because we still need you to break barriers and to fight through the disrespect that the industry is going to throw at you. And I'm so sorry, but we need that, because we need more representation in this genre. So at this point, it's impossible to ignore the glaring double standard in pop music. As one critic from The Root put it, white mediocrity and its inherent safety will always triumph over talent. In other words, an average white pop star with less than average talent will be able to just coast by based off of her look and marketability, while a Black woman that can sing, dance, write, produce, has a unique look and just all the talents, can work her entire life and not see a fraction of the success that her mediocre counterpart will see. And the message from the industry really is, as a Black woman, show up perfect or don't show up at all. But even if you show up perfect, don't expect to get anything from us. And for the Black women that have been able to break down some of the barriers, I mean, Lizzo, Doja Cat, doechii, Normani, Tinashe, etc., where they are putting out music, going on tour, it is our responsibility to support them, because the fact that they even made it as far as they have is honestly a miracle. And I'm so grateful and excited to be alive in a time when we see an artist like doechii, for example, as a darker skinned Black woman, pushing through barriers and getting to be weird and quirky and be also an extremely talented hip-hop rap artist. She can out-rap a lot of the men in the genre and still have her music push boundaries and come out with a song like Anxiety. I love the diversity and the fluidity that she is allowed to sit in, and I know people are slowly trying to pick at her and downplay her and find any little reason to be upset at her, but I really am loving the fact that she is pushing boundaries and really, highlighting another glaring issue when it comes to the music industry as a whole, when it comes to being a Black artist, a Black woman in Hollywood, and being a darker skinned artist. So yes, let's continue to support these artists and give them all the flowers they deserve. What's your opinion on the who gets to be a pop star conversation? This video is going to be kind of short, and honestly, I wouldn't mind making a longer deep dive video about this topic in the future. I was just a little bit short on time this week. But yeah, what's your opinion on this topic? I would love to hear your opinions down below. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.